Okay, so hear me out. What if we printed this counter spell? All right, but it's an enchantment. Okay, and it counters everything that everybody casts, but we can ignore it because we built around it in the first place. I like the idea of this. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher of 3 and you here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Sean D, who gave me a deck building challenge. The challenge was to build a card around Nethervoid and Destiny Spinner. Now, Nethervoid is a world enchantment, which means you can only have one world enchantment in play, period. Think of it kind of like a legendary permanent. It's a little different, but that should get you in the right ballpark. And whenever a player casts a spell, counter it unless that player pays 3. So everything gets mana leaked. The idea here is that we are going to use Destiny Spinner so that our creature and enchantment spells can't be countered. Okay, that sounds pretty sick. So these are the two cards that I was given, and I was asked to build a deck around them. Now, I tried a Nethervoid Nick Fit deck, I think maybe a year or a year and a half ago, and it didn't go well. The idea there was that we would use uncounterable spells like Abrupt Decay and then some uncounterable creatures to like break the symmetry here. But I'm choosing a different route today. I think Enchantress is a good potential fit for a Nethervoid effect because A, you can accelerate into it early with cards like Utopia Sprawl and Wild Growth. B, you have all of these Enchantress effects, so in addition to being a hate card, it also cantrips. And C, like you already have access to Destiny Spinner, and Destiny Spinner is just a straight win condition in this deck. Okay, so I played Enchantress, it'll probably be about 2 weeks ago for you all on the YouTube channel, and this version is significantly different than the version that I played. This version, I think, cannot afford to run the Living Wish package. The Living Wish package was totally fine and respectable, but I think if I want to fit about 3 Nether Voids into the main deck, I just physically don't have the spaces. I had to make a couple of slight changes to the mana in order to respect Nether Void. So my previous version had 3 Prismatic Vistas because it let you fetch the snow-covered plains. But this time around, I wanted to have one more way to fetch the Bayou. Now, normally we'll just use one of these green mana producers to just cast the Nether Void and the Doomwake Giant that's in the main deck, but I wanted to just have one more way to access the black mana off of my lands. So we have Bayou plus the Windswept Heaths and 1 Wooded Foothills as ways to get black mana from our lands, and then most of the rest of the time we'll get it from this stuff. If I was going to cut the Living Wish package, that means that I needed to insert a couple of other win conditions into the main deck, and I chose to insert a main deck Emrakul. Now, why did I do that? Well, I don't know if you're aware, but this spell can't be countered, so it has perfect synergy with Nethervoid. Okay, all right. I admit I'm being a little bit cheeky with the synergy there. I also went up to a second Sanctum Weaver in this deck. I thought this was a really cool singleton card that I played last time around, and I wanted to be able to Green Sun for it. The other reason that this is good is that if I floop another Void into play and I don't actually have a Destiny Spinner, this can just help me pay the tax. I'm sticking with one Sarah's Sanctum. If you take a look at the mana breakdown of this deck, it's overwhelmingly green cards, and a lot of these don't even have colorless symbols in them. And so the white mana, while good towards working towards Emrakul, is not necessarily the sort of thing that I need every game. Hence, I'm keeping it a one of. A two of might be correct, and dropping 1 forest is okay. But I just really want as stable and as consistent of a mana base as possible, and I think going light on Sarah's Sanctum helps on that a lot. Otherwise, we're mostly executing the normal Enchantress game plan in Game 1 of trying to get Enchantress's Presence, Argothian Enchantress, or Sithis into play, and then just ripping through my deck and eventually winning somehow. As far as the sideboard goes, I put an Allosaurus Shepherd as a Green Sun target so that my green spells can't be countered. That seemed to have good play with Nether Void when that's going to be central to my strategy. And I went up to a full play set of Endurance because this card looks at legacy decks and gives them the middle finger and then ruins everything that they love. Otherwise, the things that are here are pretty normal for Enchantress. I decided to opt for some Sterling Groves and Carpet of Flowers in the sideboard to just kind of give me some wiggle room to adjust my deck. It's my goal to not just like sideboard out Nethervoid every round, but rather to play around it. But I think there are going to be some times where like it's just too slow for the matchup, and I am going to need to board it out. All right, let's go ahead and battle. See how many people, how many fools we can just Nethervoid out of existence. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing for sweet legacy, modern, and vintage actions 7 days a week. And if you are subscribed, throw me a like before we get started. It's the easiest way to support my content. All right, it's Nethervoid time. Okay, I have kept my opening hand here. We're going to lead on, I believe, actually just fetching to play around Stifle a little bit more. And we're going to grab a forest and wild growth it. And then we'll be looking at playing an Enchantress effect on turn 2 and hopefully going ham. I think I can on Thin Ice without a target. Yes. Just enchants a snow land I control, and then it would target afterwards. Ooh, but if my opponent's getting forest, I'm going to have a target. Yeah, sick. Okay, cool stuff. So let's go ahead and Prismatic Vista and get my white mana here. Basic Plains, Enchantress, and we'll on Thin Ice this land, draw a card. Oh yeah. Alright, we'll on Thin Ice that thing away. I'm gonna be not gonna have, no, I can fetch Bayou. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, next turn I can go for Nethervoid. If it seems like a good idea. Is it a good idea? I'm not sure if it's a good idea this turn. I think I'm not going to do it this turn. I'm going to do it next turn. I would like to vomit a bunch of stuff. If I can find the Destiny Spinner, then that makes this so much better for me. I don't want my opponent to just go like, Dark Depths pass, stage pass, I die. Let's avoid that sort of scenario. So let's do this and wild growth this land. Then I guess I'll abundant growth that one. Okay, those are not the draws I'm looking for. That's fine. Guess I'll play a new land here. So go green. Wild growth this. All right. Next turn we are going to be doing the Nether Void. I don't have much of a say about it because we just drew a whole bunch of lands there. Okay. All right, Savannah from the opponent into Sylvan Library. Come at me, Dryad Arbor. Okay, Sithis is cool. So I can do this and put Sithis into play. Now I'll wild growth this land. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking with gas. Alright, so this is 3 mana, 4 mana. I think I just slammed the Nether Void now. I think I'm far enough ahead on mana ramp where it's reasonable to do so. Let's fetch. Bayou. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 3 Nether Voids in hand. 3 of a kind is strong. Draw some cards. Oh, there's an Emrakul. Remember, Emrakul cannot be countered. Very important. Alright. Enjoy your Sylvan Library. How much mana do I actually have? So this, each one of these adds an additional. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 towards Emrakul. Oh, there's a stage. Alright, I go. So I think I just want to play enchantments rather than put this additional enchantress effect into play because mana is kind of my bottleneck right now. Let's do that. Alright. How much mana do I have right now? Be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is not Doomwake Giant. So yes, I will pay for this. I'll name black with this, I suppose. Alright, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. 5 mana. I can cast an Enchantress. Okay. Yes, I will pay. And I'll call that a turn. Next turn, I'll Doomwake Giant and kill that Dryad Arbor. Oh, my opponent did not even just like copy one of my lands with Thespian Stage. A little surprised. Very aggressive Sylvan Library payment. And I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So they can Green Sun for 1. And I am going to play Doomwake Giant. And it is going to get gross. Alright. So it's going to cost me 8. I think it is approximately this much. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright. So let's Doomwake Giant. Yes, I will. I will pay for the Nether Void. So that gets rid of that stuff. And now I need another enchantment in play. So can I sneak another enchantment into play this turn? Not without my stuff getting countered, unfortunately. A little awkward. Now, I can draw some cards. Yeah, but I haven't found a Destiny Spinner, which kind of like is one of the things that I'm built around. Alright, so let's just crash in. I wonder if it was correct to play this where I just play the Sanctum Weaver this turn so I can Emrakul next turn and then like not care about Elvish Reclaimer tutoring up things that help with Merit Lodge. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not quite to Emrakul. Yeah, so my opponent can go 2 mana Elvish Reclaimer and then create Merit Lodge. So I'm actually in a bad spot. Oh, but I'm at 21. On Thin Ice is actually interesting since I am at 21. That means I can just gain a little life with Sithis this turn and then plan on Emrakul and on Thin Ice in the following turn cycle. Yeah, that's fine, and I can just kill the Elvish Reclaimer by playing a handful of other things this turn. Okay. Alright, I've got a plan. Let's Sanctum Weaver. Get my draw 3. And yes, I will go ahead and pay for this. That causes the Doomwake Giant shrinking. And now I can play another spell. I can cast a Green Sun for X equals 2 and then pay for it. Do that. Alright. X equals 2. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I will pay for it. Now I'll pick up the Destiny Spinner. Now this prompts my opponent to activate Elvish Reclaimer. So they'll sack the Flagstones. And that just gets them a Scrubland. And now this will actually get the thing that produces the Merit Lodge. Yep, there is our Dark Depths. Now, I am at 21, so it is safe for me to go ahead and fetch. Oh, I can also just tap this for green because of my opponent's Yavimaya. That's clutch. Let's do that. Double check text on Destiny Spinner real quick. Creature and enchantments. Yep. Okay, so let's just go ahead and Utopia Sprawl some land here. And throw all these triggers on the stack. Oh man, more on Thin Ice for bonus action. I will not pay for it. I'll take some white mana here. Alright, now Doomwake Giant triggers. And I think we're calling that a turn? We're calling that a turn. Yeah, you can produce the Merit Lodge. That's fine. I will discard you. And you. And you. Alright, good stuff. What you got for me, opponent? Just 20 damage. No big deal. Alright, just rough count. 1, 2, 3. Are you an enchantment? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So Sanctum Weaver basically taps for Emrakul by itself. So let's enchant a land. Start with On Thin Ice. Throw all my triggers on the stack. Draw a few cards. Not pay for that, because I don't have to. Alright. So we are going to attempt to remove Merit Lodge, at which point my opponent will activate Elvish Reclaimer and find a Sujiri Step. Or not. Okay. That certainly makes life easier. Then let's enchant a land. white mana. Put these triggers on the stack. Draw some cards. Not pay for Nether Void. Now my opponent is going for an activation. They're just gonna get a new Dark Depths. Okay, they're gonna grab Sejiri Step. That's fine. Okay. So I don't think anything I do really matters here. Let's make some mana. I like very, very much have lethal by just activating Destiny Spinner and attacking. But I also just want to have access to Emrakul. My plan here is to kill this, take an extra turn, and then kill my opponent. I'm still fine with cards in library, and as long as I have a green sun, I don't have anything to worry about in terms of decking, because I can just cast that repeatedly to return a card back to my library. Okay, now that that's gone, let's add a bajillion mana and cast an Emrakul. Okay, my opponent has seen enough. Notably, it did take me a relatively long time to win there. I don't think I really adjust my sideboard much for this matchup. I could Sterling Grove if I want to play around Abrupt Decay effects. Another Void is a little worse on the draw here. I think I'm going to sub another Void for a Green Sun. And I kind of want to put one of these in the deck so that I can Green Sun for something that has reach. Anything that's not good. My cards are pretty reasonable here. Maybe I just don't board up the other Green Sun because it's slow. Okay, yeah, let's just make that one card adjustment. And it's fine. Opponent has taken a mulligan, though. Alright, what you got for me, opponent? Fetch land to start off turn 1. Do Savannah and Dryad Arbor. No big deal. I will start off with Mana Ramp of my own. Okay, Dark Depths from the opponent into a Green Sun for 1, which will be a Reclaimer. This is a fast hand. Really interact much with it. Somewhat likely that next turn my opponent will just produce Merit Lodge and I will die. Especially if they have Yavimaya in hand. Force of Vigor. That slows me down a lot. So, opponent can fetch and turn one of their lands into Thespian Stage. Yeah. I think I need raw card draw here. Let's go Enchantress into Utopia Sprawl. Take 2 cards here. Yeah. Don't know that we're getting out of this. This build notably does not have Elephant Grass. Be one of the better things versus this type of deck. So this is going to be the Elvish Reclaimer activation, which boosts it to a 3/4. That grabs Thespian Stage. That's terrifying. Gonna be honest. Field of the Dead for as the game goes long too. Strong. Alright, well, let's start here, I guess, because this is free. That's a Green Sun. So a Green Sun for X equals 3 can find Endurance chump block for a turn. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana available, and Green Sun costs me 4 of it. So I guess that's just the remainder of my turn. Sun for 3. Alright. Endurance. I'll put these back into my deck so I can redraw and cycle them later. And that's my turn. Now, if my opponent's savvy, they still do just have an onboard win, but this at least gives me hope. So what my opponent can do is cycle away one of their lands for Sejiri Step, give pro green, and then bash in, and that just kills me. But I was 1 life away from just being able to, like, Sithis and go over 21 that way by playing Destiny Spinner. Sithis just got me back to 19, unfortunately. Alright, opponent saw the line. I think it was correct to take the line that I did, but it didn't work. Alright, on the play, do I want the extra Nether Void? I might want Sterling Grove since my opponent just showed me Force of Vigor. How am I winning this one? I'm winning this one by producing Emrakul, basically. Yeah, let's play around a force effect. I don't know if this is actually good enough. I think I need to go ham and increase my I need to just spam enchantments into play so that I can go big with something like Emrakul. I don't know that the Nether Voids work in this matchup. When my opponent just wins off of playing lands, or like they put a 1-drop into play and then their mana sinks into that for the rest of the game, the Nether Void plan just doesn't work. This is fine. I believe that since I have multiple white sources in hand already, I'm just going to go ahead and Wild Growth on turn 1 rather than Utopia Sprawl. I don't need the color fixing right now. Alright, Forest from the opponent. 2 Dryad Arbor. Ooh, hello. I don't think I want to play that out. I think I'm going to floop the Enchantress's Presence into play and then try to go just Buck Wild next turn. Alright. Alright, Thespian Stage into Elvish Reclaimer. Okay. And I'll take 1. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I eat everything this turn? Utopia Sprawl enchants a forest. Oh god, that's awkward. I can't play both Serra Sanctum and Savannah this turn. It's fine, I suppose. I guess we'll just eat Elvish Reclaimer using On Thin Ice. And I'll draw my card. Sithis is not bad. We'll exile the Reclaimer. And I'll just set up for... Okay, well, let's do it this way, actually. Let's go this, Sithis, draw a card, and try to chain together some stuff here. Get multiple draws. This means that any... Ooh, cast out's quite good. Taking more green here. So I cast out a Dryad Arbor? No, non-land. That's fine. And I do think I want this card, so I'll call my turn there. And next turn, I have a number of gross things for my opponent. I did want a second Serra Sanctum in this list. Feels real important when I need to race, like in situations like I'm currently in. Alright, Green Sun. That will presumably get a Knight of Autumn and blow up one of my cards. Using Sithis. Okay. So I don't have black yet. Yeah, I guess I didn't want to telegraph that, so that's fine. Oh, fuck. Prismatic Vista does not get black mana. Good. Okay, I messed up. Yeah, that was bad. Like, I had Utopia Sprawl last turn to play around that. I'm going to cycle Cast Out and try to get myself out of this awkward spot that I put myself in. Alright, Enchant Forest. We can make that work. Alright, fetch. Forest. This. Utopia Sprawl here. I'm gonna always yield to that. Okay. Yeah. Alright, I got myself out of my bad decision. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna go ahead and tap this now. Play an Argothian Enchantress. Then I will play Doomwake Giant. Leave one of each floating. That gives me a 2-for-1, and I floop another Enchantress into play. Okay. I have salvaged my mistake. It cost me the cast out, though, which is admittedly kind of a big deal. As, like, cast out is... It has flash. Alright. This is just going to draw me a card. Well, it's going to be an Ancestral. More accurately, I suppose. Okay. I have Emrakul mana this turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Plus Wild Growth, adding a little bit more. Yeah, we've got Emrakul mana this turn. I'm just gonna do this now before I miscount. Oh, I was one off. Oh no. Well, see if I can get to it. I must have double counted somewhere. Okay, Destiny Spinner is pretty hot. But I think I just plan on 2 turning here. So I'm gonna do this for x equals 2. I'm gonna grab me Sithis. Now I'll make a bunch of mana and just go to above 20 life here. And then that helps to insulate from my mistake from earlier. Yep. Now we'll just play a bunch of stuff. All right. All my lands are tapped. Just do one of these for 2. I grab a second Destiny Spinner. And then I can go ahead and call it a turn. I don't need to attack and just like walk into an Emrakul. Just unnecessary. Yep, there's the Dark Depths. That's fine. 21 is a very particular number. And I'll just discard a bunch of cards. Doesn't matter too much what I discard. Like with the Sanctum Weavers here, I just have a billion mana. I take 20. Goodbye, Sarah Sanctum. It does not matter. Alright, first thing, let's try doing a little convoking here. Let's try to exile that Marilage. Okay, it's gone. In which case, I will produce an Emrakul and take an extra turn. And we have won the match. Okay, this deck is a little slow to close games, but powerful. My round 2 opening hand is lacking an Enchantress effect, so I'm gonna mulligan. Yeah, this is fine. I will keep this. I don't think I will be ready for Conclave Tribunal anytime soon. It's possible that I should just throw back the Nether Void. I won't be ready for that anytime soon either. And this one at least has Convoke. Ooh, opponent is going to 5 cards. In which case, it might have been correct to keep the Nether Void if my opponent's doing something unfair. But if they're doing, like, I mulligan to 5 levels of unfair, then it's quite possible that, like, Nether Void is just too slow against them anyway. Plains Aether Vial. Never mind. We'll be okay. Emrakul. So, I'm going to fetch the Plains because it's very possible that I need the white mana in the not-too-distant future. And then we'll go with this Enchantress. Cotton Port's pretty good against fetching in this way, though. Yeah. Right, Netherwood is back. I don't think I play on Thin Ice this turn. I think I wait. But if my opponent has a Mother of Runes here, this is very good for them. They do not. The opponent is, I'd say, currently favored to win the game. But this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, there's a land. So let's get that Giver of Runes out of there. Although it's not a particularly great magic card. I just need to start drawing through my deck. Giver of Runes can't protect itself, which is why it's such a deal breaker here. And that's all I've got. See if my opponent has something sick like Stoneforge for Kaldra and like really put the pressure on. Spirit of the Labyrinth. Could have stopped a card draw on my end. Another Rishadan Fort. That's pretty strong. Well, I guess if they stop the card draw on my end, there's some negative consequences there. They flash in the Spirit of the Labyrinth, and then I target that instead of the Giver. That's reasonable. I'll get to take this out next turn. Don't think I need the color fixing of Abundant Growth currently. I'll just pass the turn. I'm going to take 3 from the Spirit of the Labyrinth attack here. Puts me at 13. Alright, Wasteland not doing a lot here, but like the Rishadan Ports will do work. Yup, port me down once. Port me down twice. Okay. Now we hope not to just get like Aven Mind Sensor blowouted. It is something that happens every once in a great while. We will just be going for double forest here. We don't have another basic plains, and Savannah would just get wastelanded instantly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't get my draw here. I do, however, get to take out Spirit of the Labyrinth, so I can get future draws. Oh, do they have Flicker Wisp? Flicker Wisp is sick here. Yep, that's fine. Alright. My opponent's 5-card hand worked just absolutely perfectly against what I had going on here. I probably don't come back from this position. Just 6, putting me to 5. And then, like, I'm down to 3 mana on my main phase without the ability to redraw and without white mana. Yeah, that can buy me a chump block, but I don't think that actually gets me back in this game at all. I think I'm going to go ahead and throw in the towel here. All right. I want these Sterling Groves. In an Aether Vial matchup, I just have to board out Nether Void. That's just non-negotiable. And I probably want some number of endurance as just something fat that can sit on the board and block my opponent's smaller than average creatures. It might just be one as a Green Sun target. Sithis is less good than normal here because of opposing Karakas. I could board that out and get one copy of endurance. So the question now is, like, how many copies of endurance do I actually want? I could see going down some number of abundant growths for more. One, abundant growth is bad against Spirit of the Labyrinth and Athalia. Do two. I still want some of them. I would like to play first. This hand is fine. It is only fine. The Emrakul is a dead card early, and I have a wastelandable land. But otherwise, the hand is solid. It has a turn 2 Enchantress effect, which is something you always, always, always want with this deck, unless you're facing down a very strange start of some kind. Alright. Is it correct to Utopia Sprawl? No, I think I want the card out of it next turn. So let's just play it now. I would like to draw another basic so that I just don't, like, put myself into Flickerwisp blowout territory with putting too many things on the same land. Aethersworn Canonist. Play a 2-3? Probably just play a 2-3. Utopia Sprawl is useful too, but the ability to hold the ground is definitely relevant. I'm going to want to cast out this eventually, in all likelihood. I'm not going to cycle this and try to make my land drop. Right? Yeah, I'm not going to cycle it. It's really tempting to, though. Like, I have other removal spells in the deck, but having something in hand that can answer Canonist is useful. Yeah. That's fine. I'll take 2, going back to 20. Yep. Okay. Now I might have to make some sad plays. Might have to Utopia Sprawl this, which is wastelandable, and I really don't like doing that. On land. Okay. Wasteland is just a disaster if it happens. Alright. What now? Thalia. I mean, that's okay. Like, good for my opponent, but it's not soul-crushing. Alright. Is Destiny Spinner the play this turn? I think so. But I can do this one before playing my land drop. Alright. I'm holding the ground again. Double Rishadan Port is a little rough, though. Oh, there's something fun coming. 5 mana. Port of Grace. So, my opponent is the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. If you're the Monarch, you get an Angel instead. Okay, that's pretty good. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, which means I can cast that out. I will need to become the Monarch at some point. What if I attack in? If I attack in, my opponent can double block, and I can kill Canonist and take the Court of Grace. I actually quite like that. Alright, Go Gadget Destiny Spinner. Okay, my opponent is just chumping. That's fine. I guess the next question is, do I cast out the Court of Grace, which kills me, or do I just cast out Aethersworn Canonist and assume that I can get to Emrakul mana? I think it's easier for me to just kill this and then deal with my opponent's Aethersworn Canonist some other way. Alright, get a couple cards. Snag the Court. I have already played one non-artifact card, so I can't play another. Alright, opponent makes their land drop. Okay, Stoneforge. Alright, my opponent does have Kaldra, which is pretty powerful. Oh, my opponent is attacking. That's interesting, because that means that I can attack and either become the Monarch or kill my opponent's Stoneforge. Alright, I get ported. I get ported. Doomwake Giant is cool. Deal with that in a bit. I'll send in Destiny Spinner to start off the turn. Alright, I become the Monarch. Now, against Kaldra, the Collector Oof side of the equation doesn't matter a ton. So I just need to start working on my mana side of the equation. Knight of Autumn will... Okay, Knight of Autumn will answer Aethersworn Canonist, and I think I'll be okay after that. Not great, but okay. I am having trouble with white mana, though. Okay, there's white mana. Discard a Green Sun. Take a good amount of damage. Oh, wow, they're not activating Stoneforge? Okay, so I guess that means they have Batterskull and they want to put that in instead. Or they forgot Kaldra has haste. Both are possible here. I get ported. I get more other ported. Okay. So, I need to create white mana here. Oh, no. So, Aethersworn Canonist means that I can't actually Utopia Sprawl and play the Knight in the same turn cycle. Okay, what is my best counter to that? My best counter to that might just be grabbing the happy little tree and then going Knight of Autumn into other stuff next turn. Let's do that. Green Sun for 2. Grab Sanctum Weaver. This line is bad against Swords to Plowshares, but I feel like if my opponent had Swords to Plowshares, I would not currently have a Destiny Spinner. I'm not going to be attacking into known Kaldra and potential Batterskull. Okay, that is Kaldra. So my opponent valued me not being the Monarch more than 5 damage. I don't know about that. Alright, I will take 5. Down to 9. What's your follow-up? A Flicker Wisp. What are they going to flicker? Okay. They are just going to flicker my land, which kills a wild growth effect. That's not bad. Yup. And yep. Okay. Things are going to be alright. So let's activate Sanctum Weaver for white and play Knight of Autumn. And this destroys Canonist and unlocks the rest of my turn, which should be disgusting. We'll destroy target artifact. Now, order of operations. I haven't drawn a land yet. I can potentially get white off land. I'd love Doomwake Giant in play. I also want Collector Oof in play, so my opponent can't hit a land, or no, they have 7 already. So they can't move Kaldra over to Flicker Wisp, so Collector Oof is going to need to go in play. I'm a little bottlenecked on green. I can just on Thin Ice the Flicker Wisp and try to draw into another green source. Let's start there. Ooh. That's a way to do it too. I'll junk the Flicker Wisp with that. And then a different land. And on Thin Ice this one. This one will get rid of this germ. Now, I'll use my green to grab another Enchantress effect. Okay, nice. And now, I will go ahead and send in Destiny Spinner and try to become the Monarch. I have succeeded in becoming the Monarch. Oh shit, I forgot about Collector Oof. Talked about that, and then I played the Enchantress instead, which was the same mana cost. Honestly, that's probably fine. I think I'm just Emrakulling next turn anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I need one more mana source. Actually, just playing a Utopia Sprawl gets me there. Don't block with Knight of Autumn, and it's no big deal. Yeah, why did I play that Enchantress? Actually, I might not have Emrakul through the Rishadan ports. We'll see. My opponent could just go for Kaldra Equip. They have 6 cards, though, so... Trample's so bad. I also might just be able to, like, Doomwake Giant, and then play 6 enchantments afterwards. That's somewhat realistic. Sanctum Weaver alone taps for 8. Okay, I'm getting movement from my opponent. Council's Judgment. Voting for the On Thin Ice here. Okay. That allows them to Flicker Wisp and blink out another land. Okay, they are going for my Cast Out. They become the Monarch. What's next? Thalia, sure. And Sanctum Prelate. Doomwake Giant is going to solve that problem. Okay. Oh, I could also just What's the problem card here? Cauldra? Probably Cauldra. Alright, I have to really think about this next turn, because I have... my mana is torn in a lot of different ways. So 8 total mana, and answer Doomwake plus all of these creatures. And then I can attack in, and become the Monarch. Yeah, so Cauldra is the problem card. Take that out. Alright, so starting here, let's do the black mana for Doomwake Giant. Get a few triggers. That gets rid of the Thalia. Now, do this, and do an Enchantress's Presence. Okay, my opponent is understandably done with me there. Once we took out the board and become the Monarch and got Emrakul the next turn, there's not going to be a lot of coming back from that. I think I'm going to go up to a 4th Endurance just as ways to stall the board. What goes out? One more Abundant Growth, I think. I think that's just like not the way that I want to play out this match. Ooh, that was a complicated game. I wish this hand had acceleration, but this hand is not worth mulliganing. I'm going to keep this. Alright, they have Aether Vial. Deafening Silence, sure. Land pass. Not a Dryad Arbor deck. To Mom, sure. Ooh, On Thin Ice. That's worth On Thin Icing. If I don't do it now, it becomes very difficult to do later. Grab my Snow Covered, On Thin Ice my land, and nuke the Mom. You know, I would love to, like, have the Enchantress effect in play first, but that's just not happening here. Am I the beatdown? Do I just play End of Turn Endurance followed by Collector Oof? Or no, End of Turn Endurance followed by second Endurance and then just clock my opponent? I think I do. If my opponent misses on land drops, this is just devastating. This is the pivot plan. Alright. Land. Crash for 3. Hit opponent to 17. And then get a new Endurance. Oh, is Night? No. Night of Autumn is 1 less power, but I get rid of something that is not useful for me to be in play. Let's do that. Like, it's a change in clock, but it's a change of clock of 1 turn. Alright, and there is the concession. Props to Endurance for just being a good Magic card. Alright, I don't believe in Snow-Covered Plains this much. We have to mulligan this hand. I just can't cast my spells. Keep? This hand is awkward. It's probably a keep. I think Nethervoid has to go back. If I'm playing against a creature deck, I'm just going to need these removal spells, especially if I get Wastelanded early on. But like, these lands don't cast my removal spells currently. So, a little sketch. Okay. Delver? No, maybe not Delver. Maybe Show and Tell. In which case, these enchantments may be dope. Alright. I think I need to start here. I just need to filter towards making my land drops. Cast out is going to be fucking hot if my opponent is playing Sneak and Show. Okay, Island. Are we sneaky? Ooh. Yeah. Now my opponent will draw somewhere between 7 and 14 cards, and potentially try again. But this is a big game for me. Thinking hard about that second set of 7. Okay, they are taking the second set of 7, which means it becomes way easier to just kill them with something like a Destiny Spinner. Alright, Petal. Anything else? Petal, 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 Show and Tell a second time. On Thin Ice, get you! Nope, we're moving to the end step, and my opponent is going to discard a bajillion cards. I've seen so much more Show and Tell online in the past week or so than I have in maybe the past year combined. I've gotten paired against it so much. Different flavors too. Blue-green, blue-white, and blue-red. Alright, let's take a look at this graveyard. So there was another show and tell discarded, which probably means that they have one, and then just a bunch of cantrips and lands. Sure. Alright. Sanctum Weaver versus Destiny Spinner. Destiny Spinner attacks. Sanctum Weaver makes it so that I can Destiny Spinner and something else next turn. I think I Sanctum Weaver. It's weird though, because Destiny Spinner makes my other stuff uncounterable in the future. Let's actually do that. That could matter if I have to end up casting it on Thin Ice or something. Okay. It resolves. I will have to play an interesting game if my opponent just casts another Show and Tell. And that's like, which card am I putting in? Because if they just have Omniscience, then it doesn't make sense to put in on Thin Ice. Oh. Well, that's bad. If they Emrakul me, they also get back their fucking Griselbrand. Okay. It is, quote, just Griselbrand. JK, it is not just Griselbrand. Alright. That was brutal. I would not have made it to Nether Void mana anyway. Actually, I maybe should not have conceded there. No. I was thinking about the legend rule, but they would just keep this one. Okay, no, I was dead. Got too caught up in the sauce for a second. Alright. I like Night of Autumn, Carpet of Flowers, and is this a Deafening Silence matchup? This might be a Deafening Silence matchup. Like, it hurts me, but it could hurt my opponent more because I can't just spew cantrips together. We'll see. Okay, like, maybe what don't I want? Do not want Doomwake Giant. I probably want to go down on Green Suns just because they're slow. Maybe not Eliminate, but down is probably good. Maybe Eliminate is fine because Sithis exists in the deck now. Yeah, maybe we go down on all of these. Carpet of Flowers can replace 2 Abundant Growths. I get a Night of Autumn in here. And I have 3 slots. 3 slots is Deafening Silence. 3 slots also could just be like Sterling Grove. Sterling Grove as a tutor for Cast Out is pretty strong. Like that. Now, where am I going with this last card? 1 Green Sun, keep an Abundant Growth, or Deafening Silence. Take an Abundant Growth in, because there's going to be a lot of times where I'm not going to cast an On Thin Ice early. I just like want its existence for later on in the game. All right. This is awkward. I might just keep this because I have Cast Out, and that card is just such a beating in the matchup. I'm gonna go ahead and keep. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to Utopia Sprawl on green or white. If I do green, I can Abundant Growth and Carpet. I don't see myself casting these cards immediately. I see myself wanting to spam multiple cards. Yeah, maybe it is green. Then I can play Carpet and Abundant Growth next turn. Easily. Is there a world where I actually just grab Savannah here? No, like Blood Moon and such exists. Let's respect that. And Utopia Sprawl on green. Alright. I assume no turn 1 cantrip. Do I take a redraw off Abundant Growth and play Carpet? Or do I just play Sanctum Weaver? I think I'm just gonna play Sanctum Weaver. A little awkward. But I don't want to show the Carpet until I have to show the Carpet. Like, I want my opponent to have islands before I do that, because otherwise they can, like, hold fetches and play around it. I'm a little surprised to see a Brainstorm in response to this card. The Dazable card. Might be a Dazable card. Okay, yep, that is indeed what's happening. Okay, like, I'll have Carpet around Daze and Abundant Growth next turn. Alright. So now that I have that draw, I'm going to play Abundant Growth first. And see what we draw. That is an Enchantress. I think since this is a fetch, I am just supposed to go for the Enchantress here. And then I can get a card draw off of Carpet of Flowers next turn. See if my opponent is rocking a multiple Daze or Force hand. They're not cantripping, so they've presumably got some counter magic over there. Yeah, Force Pitching Force. That's fine. Like, I am pretty well isolated. Not isolated. I am pretty well insulated from my opponent going off. So now I just need a way to win or a draw engine. Okay, so that's a way to win, but I maybe should have been a touch more specific. Okay, so the next question is, do I just want to play Carpet of Flowers? I'm gonna hold it. Also, if they show and tell, do I now just put an Emrakul? Like, there's decisions to be made. Also, do I cycle cast out? I have like 2 different things I could put in off show and tell already. I'm gonna cycle this. I have. It's very difficult to play the show and tell game currently. Very, very difficult. So let's do this. Move to my second main phase. Let's add some mana. And let's play a 4/3. 2+1/+1 counters. Alright. Am I putting in Conclave Tribunal or Emrakul? I don't know. Oh shit. Yeah. Please just be Griselbrand. I can beat Griselbrand. Fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just control 6 permanents. That's very unfortunate. Oh, we are so good against show and tell. And so bad against sneak attack. Alright. I think my opponent will win this game. They're like, with how many cantrips they have in their deck, it's so likely that they will find a way to like cantrip into any creature. Like even a spirit guide would do it before I am able to answer their sneak attack. I have to get to 4 mana and it has to resolve. Oh no. Alright. Well, I felt safe. And then I lost the match. What are we up to? Round 3? Round 4? I don't know. I took a break in between recording this one and the last one. I've kept my opening hand, which has a Sithis as my Enchantress effect of choice. Is that Bone Crusher? Alright, so we are playing against Moon Stompy, Red Prison, whatever you want to call it. Ass? Ass? Huh, okay. Well, I'm going to play Windswept Heath so that I can get planes and then have access to both my colors after a Blood Moon effect. That opening is fucking weird. I am not sure exactly what to think of it. Alright. Oh, unless we're just playing against the Sneak and Show, or not Sneak and Shack, the... Oh, it's an Eldrazi version. What is your exact wording? Of a spell, so it won't target off of on Thin Ice. Sure. Go ahead and grab my planes now, then. You can hit me. This makes the opener make a little bit more sense. Okay. So... I don't think there's any world in which I can take another turn off here to Sithis first. I just need to send out the Reality Smasher. Aha, you fool. Nice ability. Now they could just have another one. A Thought-Knot Seer. That's good. But my hand is sublime. Like, it's very rare that a turn 3 Thought-Knot Seer happens and it isn't just taking just something that cripples your hand in one way or another. But this hand is strong. Okay. How am I playing this turn? Sithis? Sithis is an enchantment herself. But Sithis can get stomped, which Argothian Enchantress can't. Life is definitely relevant. Go ahead and do this. And then I'm not going to expose this to like a wasteland effect here, I think. And I'll pass the turn. In the not too distant future, Doomwake Giant will stall the board of any sort of Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher sized threats. So I'm not like super worried about anything here. Well, I mean, that's not true. Like the Reality Smasher this turn specifically is pretty scary. Plus a red source also would be pretty scary. Alright, Chrome Mox. Is that a Ravager? Yeah, it's an Anji's Ravager. Alright, so I will take 6. Or sorry, I will take 4. Going to 10. My opponent has 6 mana. Am I gonna like fucking Embercleaved here? Jesus. Okay. +1/+1, double strike, and trample. Alright, how am I beating that? Am I beating that? I guess it involves finding a removal spell with Enchantress effects. Fuck. Alright, cast Argothian Enchantress. Play Sanctum. Sanctum produces 2. Yeah, I think I need to hit a 1 mana white removal spell here. Get a couple of looks. Alright. Land. Sanctum Weaver, leaving 1 white floating. I get 2 looks for another on Thin Ice. That's not it. That is also not it. Confirm double strike and trample. I have 2, 3, 4, 5 total toughness, and then I take exactly 5 damage and die. Okay, was not expecting to lose that one. Thought I was gonna get like Chandra'd. Okay, what do I have for this deck? Endurance is okay. Night of Autumn is okay. Sterling Grove and Collector Oof have some use. Just some. It has so much fast mana. I don't know that I get Nether Void. Like, the way of boarding that kind of makes sense to me is this and this. Leave myself with the possibility of destroying some Blood Moon effects. And just have a couple of bodies that can block like Anji's Ravagers, Goblin Rebel Master sorts of things, and make it so I'm a little better at holding the ground. Do I want to go down on Abundant Growth? Abundant Growth enchants a land, so maybe I don't want to do that. I'm sorry, Nethervoid. Like, I want to be playing you. Like, I'm pretty well set up to be a Nethervoid deck, but we've played against an Aether Vial deck, a deck that like wins by playing lands, not spells, and then against a deck with like Chrome Mox and 8 Soul Lands. Like, this doesn't cut it here. Let's try this. I could see more copies of Endurance, Sterling Grove, Oof, or even Green Sun. This hand is fine. We'll keep it. I need to fetch with Wooded Foothills on 1 to leave myself the possibility of getting the basic land later. I think this is just green still, rather than white. I should get that with Prismatic Vista later, and if I get Blood Moon this turn, there's still Abundant Growth. Okay. So let's floop the old Enchantress effect into play. And go from there. I think I'm supposed to use this rather than the Green Sun because the Green Sun can represent a body later. Spirit Guide, double Spirit Guide. Alright, Chandra, Awakened Inferno. We've got a real clock. I'm going to go to 17 here. I guess I need to play some stuff that pressures this. Play a Destiny Spinner. And draw a card. Hoping to hit a land drop here. Alright, I have succeeded. Now, I probably don't want to play a second creature. Probably just want to, like, run through a handful of enchantments here. So let's Abundant Growth this. And draw 2 cards. On Thin Ice. Not what I'm looking for right now. And I'll Abundant Growth this. Draw my 2 cards. It's an Endurance. Okay. I think I will just have to pass the turn there. I have a lot of enchantments in play. I guess Sarah Sanctum a very good draw. Yeah. Bye, Destiny Spinner. And what do you have as a follow-up? Rabble Master. That's fine. I'll take 1 this turn. And then I can just on Thin Ice that. Alright. Let's start with this. Okay. You probably didn't notice that pause, but I had to take a quick phone call. Let's on Thin Ice this. Sanctum Weaver is cool. Use that to take out the Rabble Master. Now, 1, 2, 3. I'll have 4 mana this turn. I think, given that, I just go land Green Sun, or X is 3. And I just grabbed something with a big butt. You can shuffle your graveyard in. So its -3 is 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. So Chandra would have to tick down to 4 in order to take this off the table. Alright, we have succeeded in avoiding that. And we Thought-Knots here and probably lose Destiny Spinner here. We could lose Sanctum Weaver. Yeah, we lose Destiny Spinner. Not surprising. Alright, I take some damage. Let's see where we can go from here. Take some redraws. Oh god, I need better than lands. Like, the Endurance can't attack through the Thought-Knots here. Yeah, that is not good. I think this thing is just going to uptick a couple of times and kill me. I don't have solitary confinement, so even if I answer this, I have to kill very quickly. Yeah. Sanctum Weaver is tapping for 6 currently. Transfer does not help my cause. It makes it harder to just spiral through cards. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I will play Endurance. I'll target you. Now I get to take this double block on the Thought-Knot Seer and draw a card. Actually, it's possible I'm not supposed to double block, and I'm just supposed to, like, turn both of those sideways at my opponent. We'll see. Alright, I think I start the turn by tapping this. Green, green, green. Play Argothian Enchantress for 3 mana. Then do one of these, which will get me a couple of draws. No, I don't need lands. I need relevant spells. That, I suppose, is a relevant spell. Pick black there. Go Enchantress's Presence for 3 mana. Draw 2. Okay. Now I can get one more spell in. It probably should not be an Enchantress. It should probably just be the Wild Growth, because, like, the Chandra Minus ability is still a thing that exists. So, actually, I can just Wild Growth here, because I could still draw exactly Serra's Sanctum. Not succeed in drawing exactly Serra's Sanctum. Okay. Am I attacking? Attacking. I probably attack them. I take 1 on the backswing, but the 3 to their face is probably more relevant. Alright, they're at 9. I'm in bad shape. I expect my opponent to kill my Sanctum Weaver and Argothian Enchantress in this turn cycle. I'll take 4 in this turn cycle. But I, like, can't block this because I have to make them do that downtick. Because it shortens, yeah. Otherwise, I shorten my clock. Alright, Anju's Ravager. Into a new land. That, I don't even know that that was a good play. Okay. So I need a Doomwake Giant. Just non-negotiable, that's where this turn starts. Is this the one that was on black? This is the one that's on black. Okay. So, Doomwake Giant. Draw a couple cards. Conclave Tribunal, huh? That is interesting. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana this turn. What if I Wild Growth? And that's kind of like I have 6 mana. So I could Wild Growth something. Yeah. So, like, play a land. 1, 2, 3. That's the Wild Growth. And it's that plus the land the Wild Growth is on. Yes. Yeah, okay. 1, 2. Sorry, I was second guessing myself on which land I had clicked on. It's quite important here. So 1, 2, 3, Wild Growth. That shrinks the Ravager. And then I go land. And I go this one. And go 1, 2, 3, 4. Invoke. And then this is going to get rid of the Planeswalker. And the Doomwake Giant kills Anju's Ravager. I've already played my land. I will attack in for 3. Now, I am real close to dead. Like, these aren't realistically cards anymore. You can go... Like, a 2 damage kills me. So a Stomp to my face gets me. A Punishing Fire gets me if my opponent's playing that. Alright. Oh my god, I just won. Ugh. Cool. So... let's get more of those in there, maybe. Just need to be able to pressure that Planeswalker. Abundant Growth probably comes out on the draw. It's a little worse against things like Chalice and Trinisphere. Is that fine? Do I want Sterling Grove? No. Let's call this good. I am very surprised to have won that game. I think I pat myself on the metaphorical back a little bit for that win. Alright, how do I feel about this hand? Not great. Doesn't have an Enchantress effect. I can't on Thin Ice on turn 1 because Savannah is not a basic. This hand's pretty bad versus lock pieces. I think I can get something of similar power level on 6 and potentially just much stronger. This hand is better. I think the green sun goes back with this hand. All right, mountain. Mountain pass. Okay, cool. So let's wild growth here and pass the turn. It's possible that I'm actually supposed to fetch with Windswept Heath and do the same thing that way because of that card. Yeah. But to finish my thought, but it's very important that I think that I just have access to white mana in the future without using Utopia Sprawl. I am going to play Windswept Heath because we can turn it into a mana-producing land later with something, well, not like Wild Growth. It had to be an Abundant Growth, but it's fine to just play this out. All right, so let's do that. And then Sanctum Weaver this turn might be better than Argothian Enchantress, but I'm going to play the Argothian Enchantress. I'm not under pressure yet, which means I just want to like work toward drawing more cards. Sanctum Weaver is also just easier to disrupt. All right, what do you got? Thought-Knot Seer. Sure. All right, goodbye. Okay, perfectly happy with this. I think I will play this turn. Let's do this, and Utopia Sprawl this land. Yield to that. Green Sun, that's not bad. Let's pick up black for this. Now I have 3 mana available. Do I just want to Sanctum Weaver, or do I want a Green Sun for something? I think I want to draw the card here. The Conclave Tribunal, which doesn't quite work with my mana this turn, is a fine card to have. Alright, so this turn probably needs to be my opponent's big turn. Like, they need an Emberclave, a Chandra, they need something big. Fiery Confluence is very good there. That is an excellent 2-for-1. Alright. I have 1, 2, 3 mana currently. Or sorry, I have 4 mana. I don't have white. Wasn't expecting to lose this much mana. Fire Confluence is not commonly played anymore. Set up double endurance scenarios. Could get an Enchantress. I think honestly it's just Sanctum Weaver though. Yeah. Let's grab Sanctum Weaver, because I think if my mana works, I have the tools necessary to stabilize this game. Conclave Tribunal can either clear the board of Thought-Knot Seer or get rid of the Blood Sun, allowing me to fetch. Yada 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 yada. Alright. Rabble Master. Into Reality Smasher. Holy shit. The pressure. I block there, and then my turn just needs to be absolute bananas. Alright. Don't have white mana. Well, okay, I do offset this. How does a Doomwake Giant turn look like? I can make 3 mana with Sanctum Weaver, which leaves me with 2 mana left over. So I can Doomwake Giant, which kills Rabble Master and Goblin. Okay, yeah, I can survive that way. Okay, so I have to Doomwake first in order to do that. And I have to make white with this. Oh my god, Magic Online, why the fuck do you autopay like that? That is so frustrating. I had stabilized the game. I just lost to Magic Online autopay. Okay. So talking through what should have happened, I would have killed these 2. I would have blocked Reality Smasher and either gone to 1 or chump blocked with this, and then I have Conclave Tribunal for one of these, and then I'm able to chump block the other, and then I start doing Sithis stuff. The game is far from over, but I just lost to autopay. That's very annoying. Alright, my final round opening hand is okay. I get to go Forest, Utopia Sprawl into an Enchantress effect on turn 2, so that makes the hand keepable. Looks like we're probably playing against Loam. Yeah, that's another way to just do an Enchantress effect on turn 2. So the real question here is, what am I doing with this Utopia Sprawl in terms of colors? I've got the Abundant Growth for fixing. It may just be that I want to start on green here. especially if my Bayou ends up getting wastelanded in the not too distant future. I'll want to have stable mana. Like opponent is digging deep here. Oh, okay, we are playing against lands, not loam. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be another round where Nether Void does not excel. Oh, Urza Saga land. Oh, fuck. A lot of stuff just happened. Yes, I will use Ghost Quarter's ability, but we are Omega Boned. I just lost out on a mana there. And my, opponent has two different threatening things in play, plus Sylvan Library to filter their draws. Not good. Not good is the current situation. I'm playing like a wastelandable source here. I'm down on mana, so I can't just quickly spiral out of control. I expect to lose the game either literally or functionally within the next 2 turns. Like a Thespian stage just ends me. And honestly, even like another Mox Diamond would probably end me. Alright, so Urza Saga ticks up. Ah, shit. Alright, well, GG. Okay. I'll pretend that I have some outs. Draw a card. Other wood. Cool. Yes, Technic. No. Alright, alright. We're dead. So unfortunately, this is a time where I just need to side out these Nether Voids, I think, because, like, my opponent wins by playing lands. I do want all these copies of Endurance. They hate on the graveyard, and they can just pressure my opponent or block a Merilage as well. Oh, maybe 4 is excessive. Want access to this. The Doomwake Giant is not super important here, but I will probably keep it to just clear constructs. Because if things are going really well, and that is like I've made it to the end game safely, Doomwake Giant can beat out some Urza Saga constructs. Let's maybe Brim and Abundant Growth and only play 3 copies of Endurance. Is this matchup slow enough that I can just actually board in the other Green Sun? Not board one of these in? That gives me more access to Night of Autumn as well. I'll buy that. So much for building around Nether Void, though. Just hit a string of matchups where it was just completely not reasonable to play that card. I can keep this hand. I don't love that it's a Serra Sanctum based hand, but I can at least start off the game by getting a redraw and putting an Enchantress into play on turn 2. And there's a lot of potential upside from there. Alright, my opponent mulliganed to 6. And I would honestly just love to draw a basic land in my next 2 draws. I would like to not play out the Serra Sanctum until I get a big turn with it. Like, if I have to play it out, I have to play it out. But it's not the primary plan. Okay, looks like I have to just play it out. Alright. There is my Enchantress effect. My opponent didn't have an impressive turn 1. We'll see what they have going on turn 2. Oh, I'm not getting Wastelanded or Ghost Quartered. That's the good news. Alright. How to play this turn. I can do Abundant Growth based shenanigans to try to redraw into lands. Excuse me. But it might just be correct to work on mana production here and get this Sanctum Weaver into play, because that gives me the highest chance of just vomiting stuff a little bit further down the line. Now I can Abundant Growth, which is both mana and cards for me. Make my next turn cycle significantly better. Yep. I mean, I just feel like I am going to get Merit Lodged this turn. It's so weird that my opponent would keep a hand that kind of does nothing for this long without, like, just having a turn 3 combo hand. So, oh, just Force of Vigor. I mean, quote unquote, just. So let's play our free stuff first, I think. Yeah, like, I don't think I'm going to run out of gas with this hand. I think I just want to maximize my mana here. Let's still take green with this 1. 2 mana off this. I can turn into 3 mana off this. Well, maybe it's correct to now put an Enchantress effect into play. Do this one. Dump Enchantress's presence into play. Now I can get double draws off Utopia Sprawl. I think now this one name's white. Got a land. Turn that into an abundant growth. Okay. That's not the flash answer, but it's still good. I'm gonna need a discard. That's redundant. This is redundant. And Rashad Port is very good at keeping me from doing the most broken things I am capable of doing. Yep. Alright. So each one of these is 2. So I have 2, 4, 5, 6-ish mana this turn. It's probably time to put some like Destiny Spinner type cards into play, and the next turn in upkeep I can activate using Sarah's Sanctum and try to actually crash in for some real amount of damage. I guess the question is, like, do I want to put another Enchantress effect into play? I think the answer is no. I think I'm at least somewhat likely to be discarding cards this turn anyway. Wild Growth, Prismatic Vista. Sure. Let's go Forest here. Tap this. Wild Growth this one. Found Doomwake Giant. Another Destiny Spinner. Do I want to hold one? Let's go ahead and play another. I can very easily do things like pay for Tabernacle. I think I'm just going to end my turn here. I have other plays I can make, but I don't really know that I need to make them. Although I did not admittedly count out my mana for upkeep Destiny Spinner activations. It's 1, 2, well, figure that out in a minute. Alright, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can activate on 2 lands pretty easily if that's something I want to do in my upkeep. Alright. Horizon Canopy Cycling? Is. Okay. I don't know why my opponent didn't mulligan, if that's what their hand looked like. They did not do anything the entire game. Like, they were shot and ported me, that's it. On the draw, I think having more copies of Endurance is totally reasonable. I think I'm going to play the full playset on the draw, so that just like a turn 1 Life from the Loam start doesn't put me really far behind. So I think that means boarding down 1 on Thin Ice and the 1 Green Sun that I brought in when I was on the play. I just want to be able to do a pitch turn on Endurance when I'm on the draw. I don't want to like start out getting Ghost Quarter locked from turn 1. Okay, weird opening hand. On turn 2, I have the capability of destroying an Exploration, a Valakut Exploration, a Chrome Mox, a Sylvan Library, whatever, and then just deploy a bunch of creatures that I turn sideways. Not the traditional Enchantress hand, but I feel like this hand is totally reasonable. We are the beatdown this game. Alright, Thespian Stage. To Expedition Map. Okay. Alright. Ox Diamond. Starting Urza Saga. Wee bit scary. Let's see if my opponent just does something like produce a turn 2 Merilage. There won't be anything that I can do about it. That's a Dark Depths. So I am 1 mana away from getting punked. Okay, so obligatory play here is probably this. But my opponent has a great response. So I try to destroy Mox Diamond, and then in response, they're going to go and search up Yavimaya. Oh, Ancient Tomb. Okay, same overall effect. So now they are going to get to produce a Merit Lodge, and I am not going to have much say in the matter. Okay, that does buy me a turn. That can get an Endurance. So I'm going to go for an attack in, see if they would be willing to expose it to sorcery speed removal. I believe the answer is, oh god, no, absolutely not. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Wild Growth is effectively free. It adds an additional mana. I can go ahead and do that. And I will do this whole Green Sun thing for 3. Alright, it has resolved. We'll grab Endurance for reach. And I think I go ahead and filter those into your library. Like, those are 2 of those 3 are okay redraws, but it's more that I don't want Life from the Loam being able to just grab Urza's Saga as a plan B. It is my hope that like my opponent is now all in, so that if I draw a way to take that Merit Lodge off the table next turn, I just win the game. I have boarded out one on Thin Ice because like it's sorcery speed removal against a deck that makes a 20/20 at instant speed. I am down a few cards from normal. Not a few cards from normal, a few outs from normal. Alright, block with Endurance. And see if... Oh, please don't be Loam. Shit. Well, that's bad. Alright. Well. So this costs 4 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. That leaves me with 1 extra mana. I can't actually make another play here. X is 3. New Endurance. Nuke that. Buy Life from the Loam. Get for 2. Pattern is not sustainable. I like every draw step I take just has to be a banger right now. I am on the ropes. Okay. I am not dead here. I get 1 redraw. Hype top deck moment. 1 redraw off Destiny Spinner. Is this it? No, that is not it. I can play this and then do this, but then I believe I just have no outs because, well, the Convoke thing would have done it there. All right, that's it. We're going down. So we have ended with a 2-3 record in this league. It's possible that that would have been a 3-2 if not for the autopay issue against like that red Eldrazi deck. But you know, the game was far from over. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I think the deck list itself was fine, but unfortunately, the way Legacy is, Nethervoid is slow, and even when you build your deck around it, your opponent's going to have things like Aether Vial, which means they just get ahead on board and continue deploying cards through it, or they can have Ancient Tombs and an aggressive strategy that is just trying to get their threats on the board before Nethervoid would come down, even with acceleration. Meaning that, like, as a game plan, like, the Nethervoid idea is not particularly good. Now, if we had played against slower decks, like say the Bant Flash deck, Nethervoid there probably would have been extremely potent. But Delver gets on board early. The Moon Stompy decks get on board early. Death and Taxes has Vial. And then we played against 2 land-based strategies that just don't really cast spells in the first place. So I think there's just too many decks that juke this sort of strategy. I am still pretty impressed with the overall Enchantress shell. I feel like just the tiny upgrade of Sithis gives you a little bit more life, like literally and metaphorically. It gives you more game versus a lot of decks. Normally, this deck stabilizes at a pretty low life total, and Sithis lets you buy some of that life back, get out of things like Lightning Bolt range. He took some hits from Merit Lodge in this stream just by gaining life with Sithis. I don't know that I'd run the Nethervoids back. Like, this is normally where I give, you know, deck building advice and how I would tweak the deck, but I think the answer is, like, Nethervoid is just not a card you can realistically brew around in Legacy. There might be other ways to do it, and if you have ideas, throw them in the comments. But like, Nethervoid doesn't win the game on its own, so for the Dark Ritual style decks, you really want a Dark Ritual into something that either wins you the game or provides just so much pressure on your opponent from one angle or another. So like when you Dark Ritual into a Hymn to Torok, that has the chance of just like winning the game by dismantling your opponent's strategy, by either taking away their lands so they can never cast their spells, or taking away their critical cards that like were the reason that they kept their hand. And when you play another Void, it doesn't win the game. It just slows things down. And when we slowed things down for ourselves and we didn't have access to the Destiny Spinner to break this symmetry, it was actually pretty bad for us and might have even lost us. Endurance, though. Endurance continues to look hot. We boarded those in a lot of the rounds. Just very strong Magic card. All right, Sean, I hope you're satisfied with that. I did my best. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, please throw me a like or consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And if you have a sweet brew you want to see showcased on the channel, donation information, as well as this deck list, is always in the video description. Have a great rest of the day.